Okay, so this is going to be a video I make that I put behind a paywall. So this is going to be part of the exclusive content you can only access by subscribing to one of the Patreons. Okay? That's the deal with this one. I'm not uploading it to YouTube. So this is going to be exclusive insider information on the game that no one else yet has access to. And the way I'm going to do this video, I think this one's going to be about an hour. Let's shoot for about an hour on this one. And we are just going to discuss the deeper layers of the game, okay? So this game is very much like an onion, and not just an onion in like internal terms, but also external terms, okay? So how do I put this? Let's take the onion. Take this onion right here. See that onion? All right, we're going to take this onion and we are going to split it in half. And we have two equal half spheres of onion now put back into full onion form, okay? We're looking at just an onion right now. What's on the surface? What's the skin of the onion, okay? What protects the onion from being eaten by weak things that can't bite through the thick skin of it? The visible layer of the onion at this moment is everything I will discuss on that YouTube channel. So, for instance, game mechanics. Game mechanics will be a big part of that channel. So what the pieces do, how they move, and I might even get into some of that on here. I might even hide some mechanics behind a paywall at the moment just to safeguard against, you know, Edison's, you know? So, yeah. This video, I'll show you what I've been putting together today. So today, for this video, in order to give it some direction, I have 4 copies. I have my paragraph text, a copy of my paragraph text, copy of paragraph text, and the copy of the copy of the copy. And at this time, they are all identical. The last thing I did before I started recording was to copy paste this guy 3 times. So at this moment, they are all the same. And this is the first, call it, well, let's just record it, the first 35 pages of the game rules, okay? And this is going to exponentially expand as I get into deeper and deeper concepts, okay? So this 35 pages will likely become thousands in not a long time. And that is both due to the complexity of the rules, but also due to the means by which I intend to teach them, which is going to be very thorough. And yeah, so let's just start from page 1. I'm calling this the complicated community. So if you are somebody who enjoys complicated things and likes hard games, because that's what this is going to be. This is going to be a hard game. but it's also going to be a very accessible game. It holds both levels, where it will be. This is the quality of this game that I've been able to maintain very well, which is I truly believe that somebody could study this their whole life or dedicate an AI program to become perfect at this game and still lose to somebody who's never played before. Just because of the way it is. But it's skill-based too. Don't get me wrong, I'm not like weighing it 100% in luck. It's a huge exaggeration. I don't know. Let's just get into it. Let's just get into this. Hey, Kenzie.
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh, hey. So I thought you were gonna say something.
No, I was just saying hi. Okay. So, the docket. Let's talk about what I will talk about. We're going to talk about cribbage, additional decks, okay? Straights, flushes, and... Whoa. I forgot what I meant by that. Physical. I think that's in the wrong spot. Well, what could I mean by physical cribbage? So anytime something seems especially out of place, especially through this process, what could I mean by physical? So I know I need to add decks, and right. So I'm just going to record for now the process I am currently doing to improve the game. So this is the game document. It's currently 420,380 lines of code. And this is my third or fourth major page. God, I'm so distracted right now. Okay. Let's focus up. So the process I'm doing right now is recording a video for exclusive content that nobody else will have access to other than people who pay for it. Which is a form of self-employment on my part, right? This is one of the goods and services I intend to offer as, I want to make money. Chess. Chess is on the docket. Movement, initial combat. So these are the things I still need to add. So I need to add the movement. I need to add the combat. So that's the thing, right? I've already coded combat. So where would it be? This one. This is the one I want. So if you look up here, I've got 6 files open at the top of VS Code. I've got 2 JavaScript files, 4 HTML files. This is the file where I hold all of the context by which I think about the suit roses, keys, gears, and pillows, which up until earlier today were the conceptually most valuable suits I had conceptualized for the game. I had not conceptualized a 5th yet. And actually, that's an interesting thing to talk about too. If you notice the time at the bottom of the screen, I don't know if it's there, but it's currently 8:52 p.m. on 11/26/2024. And if we open up the very first chess piece I made, and that was, if I pull up the metadata, I don't even know where to find it. Give me a second. And these are going to be a little bit looser and a little bit less planned and organized. This is going to be a very ADHD form of video because of course I checked the time at 11:11. That's cool. October 30th, 2024 at 2:21 a.m. is when I made the first chess piece, so it's been less than a month since I even came up with the idea for how to do chess. Chess is a very new addition to this game, and actually solidifying the rules for chess, solidifying the piece movement, solidifying its place in the hierarchy of gameplay. This was all the developments that allowed me to start recording, because I can finally really have a conclusion, right? Like, at this point, I can start recording and seeing an end point to the recording, which is nice. It's nice to see light at the end of the tunnel. I've been doing this for 2 years, full time, 2 years, no money, just every resource I have plunged into creating this thing by myself. So, yeah, I'm at the end of my rope, man. Boy, I am worn out. But whatever, doesn't matter. Get over it. Focus. Let's focus on changes I've made. Instead of the tiles being black and white, I think are traditional chessboard colors. This is gray and red. Those are going to be the 2 board colors. You've got all the traditional chess pieces. This is all stuff I'm going to go into on the regular channel. You've got all the new chess pieces. These are all currencies. And one thing you're going to notice that I only... so one thing that's going to happen is there are going to be recurring symbols. For example, this is the symbol for the 3rd level of Yarl currency. And that is sort of like looking at seeing this symbol is a lot like seeing a DLC for a video game, because this will not be included upon initial release of the game. This is way, 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 way down the line. To give you perspective on what this coin is in game, I have to go okay, let's explore the exact website you will find this video on. It'll be on Patreon, because that's where I'm going to upload it to. Okay, so the first edition of Yarl currency. I sell for $25, 3,333 of them. Okay, that's the exchange rate for the first level of Yarl currency. 3,033 for $25. 3,333 for $25. So let's pull up a calculator and let's divide that by 25. 133. So that's the $1 exchange rate for Yarl currency. It's about $133.32, or 133.32 Yarl, whatever you want to call it, in exchange for $1. Okay? Okay, and then I will find this. Not here, not here, but here. Let me just... Sorry, this is on my second screen, so you don't actually see what I'm looking for. But I will pull that in. Okay, so this is a Yarl currency right here, valued at 3, okay? The next, we are looking for the third, which is right here. So it is worth 10,000 times as much as that is. So by the time I introduce Yarl currency to the game, you will need to have 8.32 per dollar times, or no, that would be divided by 10,000. The exchange rate becomes 0.013332 per dollar. Okay? So, those will be I'm overthinking this. I'm definitely overthinking this. If it's a tenth per dollar or a hundredth per dollar, so that's going to be around $100. Whatever, just estimatory, about $100 worth of Yarl currency. We'll buy one of these. So that whatever. Maybe I will include it right away. Maybe I'll include all of them right away. Maybe I'll include this in the initial launch of the game. Who knows? Who the hell knows how much I'm going to be able to fit into this thing? It really all depends on how far I get. Okay. Take a sip of coffee. What was I looking for? Okay. Back to the docket. Chess. Movement, initial combat, currency distribution, battle translation, the broader questions. Okay. Employment. I would like this to be my job. I would like to spend my professional hours improving and directing the development of this game. I want to have complete control over it, and I want to dedicate my professional life to it. let's move on. Poker. Poker is combat. Poker is combat. Verbal, nonverbal, emotional, spiritual, physical, good questions. I will get into each of those answers in time. For now, let's focus on why combat is different from initial combat. Okay? So, let's branch. Initial combat. So, in order to explain initial combat, let's open up the program, the unfinished program, the in development program, and I've come up with clever little nicknames for my different games. This one I called Jess, because it kind of sounds like chess if you say it just wrong. Jess. Or you can just call it chess. I don't care. Call it whatever you want to fucking call it. Okay, so this is the board. Let's say we're moving a pawn forward and we're getting dealt our cribbage hand. Now, let's just say you win. You won! And I haven't coded this. Let's just pretend your pawn is there now, okay? Whatever. Because you won, you got to move. Okay, actually, this is really important. I need to get fully in depth here. So, the rule is, if you notice, these dots are gray, these dots are red. This is how, if you were to zoom in on the chessboard, and I actually can't, I don't have a function for this, but if you could zoom in and look at what the chessboard looks like, this is what each square would look like. That is a middle dot with 11 dots reaching in both directions, horizontally and diagonally, okay? So it has 8 potential pathways. Each of them are 11 circles. So when you look at this cribbage board, what you're seeing is one of those 8 pathways being followed by the piece, okay? Now, if you're blue and this is red, and there are 22 spaces between where you are and where you want to be on the next square, A3, if you get there before them, you're on. If they get there before you and you're in the red part of the square, if you're on this side, you're good. You're there, okay? But if red beats you and you're still in the gray, you are transported back and you get to move nowhere on your turn. You're stuck. And the cribbage game the length of the game will depend on how far you're moving. If you want to move 10 squares, right, that's 22, 44, 66, 88, you get the idea. So 220. You gotta go 220 pegs to make it there. And if your opponent beats you and you're 3 squares short, you're only moving those 7 squares. Got it? Okay. But now let's say that instead of, let's just imagine that you've got a pawn that's here at that red square right there, and they've got a pawn right here at this red square, and your 1 square of movement is now towards combat, okay? Initial combat will be, so imagine these are red instead of gold, okay? That's what you'll see in game when you're going towards a opponent's square with battle intentions. And if you are in the gray and your opponent makes it to the other side, you're transported back, safe and sound. If you beat your opponent, then since you are both holding pawns, right? Since it's combat between a pawn and a pawn, they will both be carrying the same type of currency, which will be this one, and they will both be holding 12 million of them, because every piece is equally valuable. They hold an equal value in currency. By rule of law, that is the socialist aspect of the game. They all get the same value in currency. But one of these is worth 12 million of these. So the king can only go all in, essentially, is how he functions, right? That is his function as that currency. But in this situation, each pawn walks in with 12 million coins. Now, if you beat your opponent, you walk into combat with 24 million coins instead of 12. It doubles your currency total to go into battle with initiative. But if your opponent beats you and you're within the square, then they get 24 million and you get 12. Okay? And then you play poker. And whoever wins the game takes the square and the piece and the currency. That's important. And I'm debating on where to go from there because I've considered the possibility, one of the major currency questions I have well, I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of unanswered questions about this game. But one of my biggest ones is when you capture an opponent's piece, what happens to their currency? Because a pawn is only allowed to carry this currency, and the teleporter's only allowed to carry this one, right? So are they going to translate into, will I make it so each piece can carry currency and take the taken piece's currency into the next battle with them to create an exponential, additive, accumulative stack increase? Or do I remove the excess? And maybe this is something, maybe this could be branching game modes, right? Maybe the rules of the game change depending on the level of interaction we're talking about, right? That's one of my major unanswered questions. Do you make it so the piece that wins the battle takes the currency? Do you translate their currency into that pieces and thus increase their sphere of influence within the community because of their capture, right? Should that essentially increase the level of that currency and deplete the opponents economically? You know, should we begin to see dominant currency exchanges because of the expounding impact of translation? Or do you let the piece keep the currency and it stays the same type, right? So the amount of each currency in the world stays perfectly level and never changes in totality, remains essentially balanced, but finds its way in different people's banks, right? Bank accounts in different amounts, you know, and that's what builds up the character traits of that individual's character. Whatever. So you can have keeps it and translates into their currency, keeps the initial type of currency, or you can have the currency just escape the game altogether and, like a ghost, disappear into your bank account somewhere and leave the game completely, thus keeping the game itself from exponentially becoming weighed by the dominant pieces, which expound, you know, take so much currency. But I do like the exponential effect of it. I think that makes it really interesting. Especially, well, it might be balanced. In the long run, it might be balanced. Regardless, that's another option, is to have it leave the game, or, and this is the option that I've been having the most fun thinking about, is the Monarchal possibility, which would mean that all of the currency you win through taking opponents' pieces goes into the queen's bank account, thus creating a monster of a queen and making it once again the dominant piece on the battlefield. That, I think, is the one I am most interested in, but might require me adjusting the queen's role in the game. Anyways, where did we leave off? The pieces. Okay. Or poker's combat. Okay. So, these are all of the game pieces. You have the traditional ones: the king, the queen, the knight, the rook, the bishop, the pawn. Those are the first 6 from original chess. Their movement remains unchanged. Their placement on the board remains unchanged. I mean, I can just pull up the chessboard here. What you doing?
Heating up my food.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, I don't even remember what I was gonna do. Okay. gonna stop there. Let's take a break.